All right, it's Marc Gordon here. Thanks for coming by. Can you, I don't know if there's some way, can you just do a hey or something if you're in, just so I know that you're here? Let's see. We got Alex. Okay, Alex, I see you. You're the organizer. All right, just Alex for now. That is totally fine. So hold on. We got more? No, we don't have more. Okay. Well, thanks for coming by. It's just you and me, Alex, I guess for the time being. Maybe more. We'll have to see. But this presentation is really not about selling. Now, I know you guys are salespeople, and obviously you know how to sell, you know techniques, and there's a lot of people at this event who are going to show you techniques and methods for selling, as in closing the sale. But for this presentation, what I'm doing today, it's not about closing the sale. What it's about is creating experiences that get people wanting to come back and buy from you as much or perhaps even more so than you want to sell to them, which is the ideal situation for any salesperson, to have a customer who is eager to buy whatever it is you're selling. So I want to start by sharing with you a story about my friend Suzanne. Suzanne, wonderful woman out of Montreal. Suzanne has this ritual where every few days, maybe a couple days a week, she stops by this Italian cafe in Montreal, that's where she is, and buys a small cappuccino. Now, the reason she buys a small cappuccino is because she has gotten it down to a science as to how much cocoa and sugar and milk and whatever else she puts in to get it tasting exactly as she wants. Now, I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but if you are, I'm sure this makes perfect sense to you. And she spent many, many times figuring out the right amount of all this stuff to get that perfect cappuccino. Now, having been going a few days a week for a number of weeks, they start to recognize her, they start to know her, and they appreciate her business. And about a week ago, she goes in, and the manager's there, and of course, he recognizes her. So when she orders her small cappuccino, gives her a wink and a smile and hands her a large cappuccino, but he charged her for the small, and it was his way of saying, thanks for the business. Now, that sounds like a great thing, doesn't it? To kind of say thank you to the customer, to give something extra, something they didn't expect. Sounds like common sense, right? A great way to show your appreciation. But here's the thing. When Suzanne got that large cappuccino, she didn't know how much sugar and cocoa and milk and everything else to put in. It was a different size. She didn't know the ratio or anything. It was like starting from scratch. So this led to, well, I guess a little bit of stress for her. So she took it over to that little counter where they have all the things you can put in, and she added the milk, she added the cocoa, and sugar and everything else, guess what? It wasn't what she wanted. It wasn't what she was hoping for. It didn't taste anywhere as good as the cappuccino that she had always prepared when she ordered a small. She ended up taking a couple sips. She just threw the rest away. She didn't have the nerve, or she didn't want to show her lack of appreciation by going back to the manager and saying she really wanted a small, which is in fact what she wanted. Now, you might be saying, well, this is a good thing. This is, it's not a bad thing to go above and beyond, to give something extra. And I know the intent of that manager was just that. He really wanted to show his appreciation. The problem was it didn't go the way he wanted, and it didn't go the way she wanted. The outcome wasn't in line with what both people wanted. He wanted to show his appreciation, and she wanted to feel appreciated, and neither worked out. Now, who can blame him, though? I mean, this manager, like most business people, have it in their head that they should be showing appreciation, that they should be going above and beyond. Now, this concept may be common to you as well. Maybe this is something you're doing, and it's not that unusual. In fact, the concept of going above and beyond, exceeding expectations, giving more than what is asked has been around probably since around the early 1980s. And there's been a number of books that came out around then kind of extolling this virtue and this type of behavior. And I believe it stems in large part from the fact around that time, American companies were getting their butts kicked by Japanese imports, specifically the electronics industry and the auto industry. Instead of people wanting to buy a Zenith television, they were buying a Sony. And instead of people wanting to buy a Ford Escort, they were buying a Toyota Corolla. So the Americans had to respond, and they had to do something quick, and they didn't have time to decide how to up the quality of their products and to innovate and introduce new technology. So what they decided to do was to just treat their customers better. And the belief was, if you give customers more than what they asked for, they'll be happy. And that'll offset any bad feelings from buying something that's just a piece of junk. Well, is that true? Is that really what happiness is all about? Exceeding expectations? Well, here's something I want to illustrate for you. See, there's two things. There's the perception of exceeding expectations in terms of building loyalty and delivering happiness. And then there's the reality of exceeding expectations, building loyalty, keeping customers happy. So first I want to explain the perception. And the perception is this, very simple. It's three parts. You see, if you don't meet your customers' expectations, if you don't give them what they want, well, they won't be very happy. And if customers aren't happy, we know they're not going to come back. Now, if you meet their expectations, if you give your customers exactly what it is they want, what they came in for, what they're asking for, well, they'll be happy, because people are happy when they get what they want. And happy customers are loyal customers. And then based on this school of thought, if you give customers more than what they want, if you exceed their expectations, they will be even happier. And happier customers are more loyal. In fact, the belief is that the more you give them, the happier they will be. And the happier they are, the more loyal they will become. In this connection between exceeding their expectations and then becoming loyal just increases in sync with each other. So you just keep giving more, and they just becoming more loyal and loyal, to the point that they won't buy from anyone but you. Is this true? No. See, this is the perception of exceeding expectations. The reality is a little bit different. Let me explain. Much like before, if you don't meet their expectations, if you don't give customers what they want, they won't be happy. Happy customers don't come back. We understand that. It makes sense. And if you give customers exactly what they want, if you meet their expectations, they will come back, because people will always come back to what they know when they get what it is they want. But this is where things kind of separate between the perception and the reality. You see, if you go above and beyond, if you give your customers more than what they wanted, it will not be met with happiness and joy. It'll be met with apathy, as in they just won't care, in large part because they were getting something they didn't want or they didn't need and they didn't even ask for. In fact, sometimes customers are getting things they didn't even know they were entitled to or that existed. And when people get things they didn't want or need or even know about, well, they have no value. And if something has no value, it has no importance, it has no affection. They don't appreciate things. People don't appreciate things that they didn't want or didn't ask for. So the fact is, if you continue to exceed expectations, all it will cost you is time, effort, resources, and money. You know, I'm reminded of that movie, Jerry Maguire. Remember the one with Tom Cruise and Renee Zellweger? There's a scene in that movie I absolutely love where Jerry Maguire and Dorothy, that's his wife, played by Renee Zellweger, they had a big argument, and Jerry Maguire comes home, and all her girlfriends are there, and Renee Zellweger's there, and they're all there, and they had a big argument, and he comes in, he says hello to everybody, and then he sees Renee Zellweger, and he goes up to her, and he breaks into this long monologue about how he needs her, how he loves her, how she completes him. And in the middle of all this, she puts her hand out, and she says one of the best lines ever said in a movie. Can one of you guys type in? Can one of you guys put in the comments what she says? Come on, I know you can do it. I know you're hearing it. I know you're hearing those words. All right, I'm going to tell you what it is because no one's putting it in there. That's okay. You can say it with me. She says, "You had me at hello. You had me at hello." All he needed to do was just show up. That's all he needed to do. But he didn't know that. He didn't know what her expectations were. So when he came back to her, he broke into this huge monologue because he believed that he had to earn her love back, that he had to defend himself, that he had to explain all these things, show his affection, everything else, when all he had to do was just show up. You see, this is incredibly relevant to what we're talking about right now because every customer, every one of your customers, in fact, even you as a customer, have a hello point. And that hello point is when everything is perfect. Everything is just right. And that's what you want. If you understand what your customer's hello point is, what their expectations is, what their state of happiness is, well, then you'll be able to meet that because you'll know what they're expecting. And if you know what your customers are expecting, then you'll better be able to give it to them. Now, a lot of companies, they're focused on happiness. And I've used that word a few times, and I know this segment is called Selling Happiness, but I want to break that down for you a little bit. I want to tell you a little more about happiness. You see, what if I told you you didn't have to make all of your customers happy to get them to love you? In fact, what if I told you making them happy may actually be hurting your business? That's like crazy, but it's true. And I'm going to break it down for you. You see, happiness is an emotion, much like anger, sadness, whatever it is. Whatever emotion you have, happiness is one of them. Now, like all emotions, happiness is created when our when our brains release chemicals. And these chemicals are called neurotransmitters. And you've probably heard of them: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. There's lots of these chemicals, and they all do different things and make us feel different ways depending on our external environment. When it comes to happiness, our brains release serotonin. Serotonin makes us feel really good. It makes us feel happy. You get that release of serotonin when you win something, a contest, you win the contest, or when you're given a gift, or perhaps when you're on a roller coaster. And all of a sudden you get that spike in serotonin and you're feeling really good. You're feeling awesome. You're on top of the world. But we know it can't last. It cannot last. Happiness cannot last because it is an emotion like any other. And the emotion is controlled by chemicals coming out of your brain into your nervous system. If you are happy all of the time, that's not healthy. All right? Your nervous system is running hot. Being happy all the time, the release of serotonin all the time, this is what happens when people take drugs. All right? They take cocaine, they drink a lot. It's artificially causing your body to send out serotonin. It's messing up your nervous system, and afterwards you will crash. So the idea of making every customer happy, getting that smile on their face, getting them to be like, yes, I absolutely love buying from this guy. I totally have to return. That was the best experience ever. It's not realistic. And for your customer, it's in fact not even really healthy. All right, for all of us, trying to be happy all the time, it's not going to work. What we want is a state of homeostasis. Let's try that again. Homeostasis. Homeostasis is normalcy. All right, over the course of our day, we have like a normal state and we go up and down, right? Stress, happiness, joy, sadness, all these emotions. And that's what you want. That's normal. That's what your customers are going to go through over the course of the day. That's what they could possibly go through when dealing with you, depending on the situation. So for you to try to put all that effort into making them happy, truly happy, it's an unrealistic expectation on your part. So instead, what I would suggest you do is focus on delivering an experience that encompasses these three words. 3 words. If you're going to write anything down during this presentation, this is it, okay? Grab your pen and paper. You're going to write down these 3 words. You want to deliver an experience that is easy, convenient, and stress-free. And I know stress-free is technically 2 words, but we'll put a hyphen in there so it still counts as 1. If you can deliver an experience that is easy, convenient, and stress-free, you will win every time. You do not need to wow your customers. You do not need to go above and beyond. Now, I'm not saying that you can't show appreciation. You can do that. But what's important is that customers understand that the appreciation you're showing is above and beyond. All right. It's not the normal thing. All right. When you say thank you to a customer, you have to let them know that it's something special. So for example, back to my friend Suzanne, when she got that large, in a perfect world, what he should have done is said, you know, we really appreciate you coming. Would it be all right if I gave you a large instead of the usual small that you have every time you're here? Just as my way of saying thank you. See, by doing that, number one, he empowers the customer to know that there's something special and to make that decision. He's letting the customer know that this isn't the regular thing. He just didn't throw it at her, because when he does, right, that when he presented her with that large coffee instead of the small, it didn't have any value. But when he presented it as something special, it now had value. So for you, depending on your industry, if you want to reward your customer, if you want to go above and beyond, if you want to show them that you really appreciate their business and want to do something special, you can do that, but present it in a way where they know it's special. They're getting something different. And I'll tell you a little trick that I've recommended this to a lot of guys, especially in the technology industry. In many cases, you as salespeople, what you may do is give the customer something extra. All right. Now you prepare an invoice, you're all doing invoicing. You want to give them something extra, but you want them to know that it's extra, and you want them to know, most importantly, that it has value. So what you do is you include it as a line on the invoice along with the price of whatever that item is. So if they've bought a bunch of items from you and you want to give them something extra, and that extra item is, let's say, $100, you will list that item on the invoice. You will show that it has a price of $100. And then what you will do is you will put a line underneath, letting the customer know why they're getting it. Special welcoming gift, or preferred customer discount, or our way of saying thanks. Something as simple as that. Our way of saying thanks for the business. And then you put a discount equal to the purchase price of whatever you were giving them. $100 for the item, $100 off. So when they get that invoice, they'll see not only that they're getting something special, but they'll see why they're getting it, and they'll see that it has a real monetary value, which is very important, absolutely essential, right? Because we touched on the whole perception of value. If they don't value it, it doesn't mean anything. So you have to show value to everything that you're going to give your customers, right? Now, sometimes, well, many times, Businesses will feel that they have to create this big extravagant interaction, all right? That they have to go not necessarily above and beyond, but they have to create a true magical experience, all right? They have to do Disney. We all hear about Disney, how amazing Disney is. Disney can do Disney because they're Disney. And in that, I mean, they have the resources. They have the personnel, they have the time, they've got entire teams of hundreds of people who do nothing but figure out how to create greater and better experiences each time. But for most businesses, they don't have those resources. So I want to take that pressure off you right now. What I want to tell you is this. You can deliver an experience that is perfect by doing absolutely nothing. I want you to think about this for a moment. All right, staying with the subject of coffee, my friend Suzanne, let's talk about you and coffee. Maybe you're one of these people who stop by a Tim's or a Starbucks or whatever coffee place you like on a regular basis, and you buy that coffee. Now, I would imagine it goes something like this. You go into the store, maybe you line up, go right to the counter, you order your double or whatever it is you're going to order, you pay for it, you wait a minute or two, they give you the item and you leave. Sound familiar? Well, here's the thing. Here's my question for you. When you go in, you think you remember the size of the lineup? You remember the music playing in the overhead system? Would you remember the name of the person serving you, the person behind the counter, even if they're wearing that name tag? Would you notice? Or would you be like most people, where you've probably got your head down on your phone? You're busy texting and emailing and phoning people and doing whatever it is because you don't care about the environment around you. All you need to know is what you want to order, how long it should take to get it, and then you leave. And if what you left with is exactly what you went in for, you're satisfied. Not necessarily happy. I don't know of anyone who's ever walked out of a coffee place truly happy, ecstatic that they got that coffee. No, but what you are is satisfied, which is a wonderful place to be. Satisfied and content, because you had an experience that was easy, convenient, and stress-free. In fact, Starbucks and Tim Hortons, they got it down so good that the event of buying a coffee is often so mundane, so unmemorable that you hardly even notice it. And sometimes that can be the perfect experience in itself, because their experiences are easy, convenient, and stress-free. And that is what we all want to strive for. If you can figure out how to do that in your interaction with a customer, with anyone you deal with, whether they're buying something or not, or whether they've just approached your company for the first time, if every interaction with your company can be easy, convenient, and stress-free, that's the way to start it. And a great example is when someone just picks up the phone and they call your company and they don't know who to ask for. They don't know which department to look for. My question to you is this. Are they going to get lost in phone menu hell? Are they going to be in this labyrinth trying to figure out who to call, who to talk to, what department? If they input the extension with the first three letters of the person's name, how often have you done that? Where you call someplace, you know the person's name. That's all you know. You input the first three letters of their name and you get a recording coming on telling you that there's no name that matches those numbers. That is what I like to call a sticky spot. We're going to touch on that more in a minute. But that is a source of stress. So what do? You dial 0 to speak to the receptionist. And guess what? You get voicemail because they don't have a receptionist. This is what causes stress. And it's not just about the sales process, it's about the entire transaction journey. So it's up to you. If you're the owner of the company, it's up to you to make sure that every point of contact with your company is easy, convenient, and stress-free. Makes it easy for the customer to stick around, makes it easy for the customer to get the help that they need, to get in touch with the right person who can provide them with whatever it is they're looking for. And if you're a sales rep, if you're a VP of sales or just a regular salesperson working for a company, you need to step up. This is your opportunity to go back and tell management how they can get sales up without working you any harder, without having to hire more salespeople, without having to spend more money on marketing or advertising. All they have to do is just make it as easy as possible for people to deal with your company and for people to make that purchase. So what I want to do now is I want to share with you some points that you can take away and actually start applying to your business right now. And by the way, at the end of this, I'm going to do a little Q&A. So if you want to share any questions or comments or anything like that in the chat, feel free to go ahead. I may answer them now if it pops up, or I may do it at the end. All right. So whatever's good for you is good for me. So the first one is I touched on sticky spots. And I'm going to dive into that a little more. I want you to eliminate sticky spots. So a sticky spot, I want to imagine this. All right. You're walking along a road. All right. It's a nice, smooth road. And that road is the entire transaction journey that you're on. From the time you reach out to the company, meet the sales rep, go through order processing, place the order gets delivered, you call technical support, whatever it is. It's all on a journey, that nice, smooth road. You want that road to be smooth and easy to walk on. And guess what happens? Sometimes you'll step on some gum. The customer steps into a big wad of gum and they're stuck and they're walking. And even though they keep walking, they've got this gum stuck to the bottom of their shoe. And it's so freaking annoying. Even though they've moved on to the next part of the journey, they know they're still carrying that stress of having stepped in the gum in the first place. Every journey, every company, every interaction that a customer has with you and your company, there are bound to be those sticky spots, whether it be not being able to connect with someone on the phone, or not getting emails answered fast enough, or having the wrong product delivered, or waiting too long for delivery, or not getting technical support the way they need. There's sticky spots along the way. These have a profound effect on how people interact with your company and a profound effect on the entire customer experience, because the experience encompasses every touch point they have with your company. All right, everything, every interactive spot. Now, this doesn't count as marketing, by the way, because marketing is not part of the customer experience. What marketing does is it influences the expectations that people have. Right? That's what marketing is. But in terms of customer experience, it's all about interaction. So it can be your website, it can be your app, it can be your staff, it can be your company electronically or digitally, anything. It can be even just walking in. If you have a store or a restaurant and they walk in, how they're treated inside, that's all part of the experience. So if you can go through your customer journey map, if you can create one, if you can list every point of contact your customers have, then you can identify sticky spots. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's not just for you to do. It's for management, and it's even for frontline people. If you've got different departments in your company, reach out to them. Get them to give you input. Some of these people on the front line, they see things that you and I could never imagine in terms of what the customer goes through. So don't be afraid to bring people in and ask them, what are our customers going through? What challenges do they face in the process of dealing with us and buying from us, and even after post-sales? What are they going through? How is that impacting their overall experience? Number two is I want you to be proactive. And this falls directly with you, the salesperson, because you're the one that makes things happen. Nothing happens until somebody buys something. So you are the master. This is your area, all right? It is up to you to be proactive in ensuring that every part of the journey works the way it should. So for example, I have a client who sells cars, all right? He's just a car salesperson. He doesn't own the dealership. But what I've gotten him to do is to watch that customer from the time they come in and he makes that connection to the time that they negotiate, the sale is made. Then afterwards, they're taken to the business office to arrange things like financing and extras and all that other kind of stuff and insurance. And then even afterwards, he meets them, goes over the car with them. And here's a great thing. This is very, very cool. When the customer comes to pick up a car from this guy, the radio stations are already tuned to the customer's favorite station. How would he know that? When was the last time you bought a car and got in and the stations were already programmed, your favorite stations? What does he do? He goes into the trade-in, When they bring the old car for the trade-in, he quietly sneaks in there. He's doing his inspection, right? They all do an inspection to see how much the car's worth. He goes in, does an inspection, and while he's in there, he takes a look at the stereo and writes down all the stations and then programs them in to the new car. How cool is that? He also follows up with them after, a few days after they get home. How's the car? How's it going? How are things? Everything working okay? He follows up with them at the beginning of their first service visit and after their first visit. He takes on a role of concierge. This is something you need to do. You need to be with your customer every step of the way. Now, I know depending on your industry, they may get handed off to another department, maybe another individual. That doesn't mean you're out of the picture, all right? I want you to be an advisor to your customers. I want you to be there for them in any capacity and to empower them to be able to reach out to you to be able to have any of their questions answered. And even if it's not your department, I'm willing to bet you can find out whose department it is. If they're calling you with a tech question, you say, no problem. Give me the question. I'm going to have so-and-so from tech support give you a call, and you follow up to make sure it happened. The next one is to stop treating your customers equally. I'm going to say that again here. To stop treating your customers equally and start treating them fairly. Here's the thing. Maybe you've been on a plane and maybe yourself, you've been lucky enough, or someone you knew, they get bumped up to first class. There were too many people. They've overbooked the plane. There's room in first class. And maybe you've been one of those lucky people where they say, sir or ma'am, we'd like to put you in first class. You say, that's awesome. Why you? Why not someone else? Because you deserved it. That airline, they looked at your buying habits and they knew that you were someone special. You weren't the same as that other person who flies once every 6 months or once a year. You deserved to be bumped to first class. They don't treat their customers equally. They treat them fairly. And in your situation, this could involve a customer needing help. All right. They might ask you to do something for them where you have to go in outside of regular business hours, maybe an evening or a weekend. And you think about it. You can tell the customer, I'm really sorry, we only operate during regular business hours. I'll be there to help you first thing Monday morning. Or you can look at this customer and say, you know what, this is someone special. This is someone I have a real relationship with. This is someone that I want them to know how much I value their business. And you know what? You go in on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Friday night or whatever it is to fix the problem or to see that the problem gets fixed or to make arrangements that the problem gets fixed. You treat your customers fairly. No two customers are alike. So why would you treat them all the same? And the last one is, I want you to create an environment at your office where everybody cheers for everybody else. Everybody supports everyone else. And by that, I mean, for example, you being in sales, you want to close that deal. You want to close that big sale. But you know what? The people in accounting, they don't care. They don't even know you're having discussions with this customer. People in HR, they don't care. The receptionist doesn't care. The order department doesn't care, but you care. And what I'm going to tell you is they all need to care. You need to tell every person in your company that they should be cheering you on and they should be taking on an active role if need be. If that customer calls you and cannot find you, or is calling you and accidentally presses the wrong button on the phone and gets transferred to Louise in HR, is Louise going to just pass them off or say she can't help them or give them your cell number? No, Louisa's got to step up to the plate. Louisa should say, nice to meet you. It's great to meet you. I'm Louisa in HR. It's great to connect with you. How can I help you? Now, maybe she can't help them, but you know what? She's building rapport, and rapport is it. All right. Every person in your company should be welcoming. Every person in your company should make that customer feel that they are valued and appreciated. And I guarantee you they're not making the sale, but they're sure as hell going to help you make that sale. So This is what you should be doing, going to every person in your company, getting them to cheer for you. It is a team, all right? Companies don't sell to companies. People sell to people, and there's people in your company, and they should all be working together towards that common focus of making the sale. And after the sale is made, even other departments, they need to understand the role that they take. So if you make the sale and it gets delivered, the delivery people, you may not be there, but when that product's delivered and the delivery people show up, they have to understand that they are representing not just the company, but they're representing you. They're a reflection of all the time and effort you've put into creating a relationship with your customer. So you have to make sure that they buy into that as well, that they understand the impact they have, because it would be terrible for you to be professional, for you to provide amazing customer service, amazing customer experience, and then they screw it up because they just don't care, because they see themselves as just delivery people. So I hope that all of this has been able to help you out. And I got something really cool for you. I got something I want to share with you guys. If you pass me your email, if you put your email, you can direct message me, or what you can do is you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn, I'm going to actually put it here. We'll see if you guys can connect. I'm going to put it right here for you. All you have to do is go to LinkedIn and do a search for this. Hold on, I can't type with one hand. So if you want to put it in the chat here, that's really cool. If you want to keep it private, just go to LinkedIn, do a search for me by that name. That's my name, obviously. Reach out to me. If you send me your email address, I will send you a new guide that I've just written. It just hot off the press a couple of days ago. I will send you the PDF version. It's called Pivot: 7 Ways to Thrive in a Changing Marketplace. There's a lot of crazy things going on out there right now with regards to customer expectations, changing market conditions, what businesses are able to provide, what customers expect to be given. And I'm going to share with you some things that you can look at to figure out which direction you should move in. So I'm going to send you this guide absolutely free. If you send me your email address, all you have to do is connect with me on LinkedIn and ask for it. And I have another guide coming up down the road. Oh my God, that's going to be absolutely awesome. You know what? I'm not even going to tell you. It's 12 ways, but I'm not going to tell you what those 12 ways are. It's going to be a surprise, but I will send you that as well, absolutely free, when that comes out, probably in about 2 to 3 weeks. That is going to be awesome stuff. It's going to actually be a continuation of what we're talking about here today. So you're definitely going to want that one. So with that, thank you for joining me. It's been absolutely amazing. If you have any questions or anything, you can post them in the chat. And if you want to comment, or if you want to, I'm not really sure how this platform works with regards to communicating. So I don't know if I can hear you. If you talk, if you engage your microphone, I do not know. I hear nothing at the moment. Let's see. Does my speaker work? Yeah. I guess. I don't know if I can hear you, but if you'd like to post anything in the chat, we can talk. Otherwise, thank you for joining me. My name is Marc Gordon. You can learn more about me and what I do by visiting MarcGordon.ca. That's just like it's spelled, MarcGordon.ca. You can check it out there. And you can also reach out to me through that website as well. If you'd also like the guide, you can reach out to me under contact. So there you go. Thank you for joining me on this presentation. It's been great connecting with you. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk soon. I'm going to move over now into the networking room. I'm going to try to move over to the networking room. So hopefully we'll be able to talk a little more. I'm going to stick around, answer any questions you have. Thanks so much. Take care.